To start knitting, find quite a large thick wool and the largest pair of needles to practice on. You'll be able to see the work better. So the first thing we do is make a loop. So twist it over, pull it through. So now you have a nice little loop. Put your needle in and just tighten it a little bit, not too tight, but just enough. You can hold on to that tail with your left hand and you have one loop on the needle. Put the right needle into the hole here of the loop. Wrap the thread round, slide the needle down through the hole and just lift up and you have a second stitch. So you can slip that on. So we have 2 stitches. So now on this second stitch, we go in, round, down, and lift up, slip it onto that left hand needle. Round, down, lift it on. So we're up to 4 stitches now. 1, 2, 3, 4. And keep going till we have 20. Okay, so now we have 20 stitches. So we can begin to knit now. So underneath is a nice little line of where we've cast on and 20 individual stitches. Somebody said to me one of the problems they had was when they cast on, they ended up with 30 stitches. Sometimes if you twist the wool, if you twist the stitches, you can end up going in the bottom or picking up the wrong part of the stitch. It's easier to see on these large needles, and that could be. So always keep your nice line of underneath stitches nice and even, because if it twists round and round and round, you can get in a bit of a muddle. So keep that line nice underneath. There's the tail. So to start knitting, keep the stitches are all on the left hand needle. Hold your left hand needle, put your needle in, up through the loop, wrap the thread round, take it down through the hole, but this time you're just going to lift that whole stitch off. So again, put the needle in the second loop, pull that a little tighter, wrap the thread round, down, lift it off. Third stitch, so you can clearly see the gap there. Up through the hole, wrap it round, pull it off. And then we can do this all the way to the end, remembering to keep those stitches nice and straight. Wrap it round, take it down, lift it off. Down, lift it off. Through the middle, wrap it round, down, lift it off. So we've done 20 knit stitches. Okay, and it's a bit harder to see. So on the flat side, there'll be a V on the right side. And on the back of a knit stitch, there's always a bobble, a loop. It's a bit difficult. Yeah, you can just see them there. So that's the underside of a knit stitch. And the only other stitch that we really need to think about, because we can make hundreds of different things from these 2 stitches, is purling. Now purl, so I started there, we've gone along knit, 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 and we turn it over and you can see the back of the knit stitch. So if you can keep just knitting, one side will be bumpy, next side will be flat, one row will be bumpy, next row flat. So you can keep knitting like that and make lots of interesting things. Or if you want a nice smooth on one side, we're going to do a purl stitch the other way. So a purl stitch, we're going to take that tail and hold it over there out the way. A purl stitch, rather than going up, we're going down. So we have that first loop. Let's put the needle in down this time, in front. So we're not going behind, we're coming down and in front. And then we wrap the wool round from there. And this time, we've got the wool round, we lift up and off. So down, wrap round, up and off. Down, round, up and off. And we just keep going along like that. So this is the reverse side of our work. There's a bobble there, there's a bobble there. So that's our second row. I'm hoping that doing it on these really large needles is easier for you to see the formation of the stitch. And then this side, the front side, is more of a V, is more of a diamond. So if you were working with much smaller needles, as most jumpers are, this is stocking stitch. And this is done on much smaller needles. And as you can see, it's like lots of little triangles. Bit of dog hair in there. Yeah, so that gives you a nice smooth finish. And on the reverse are lots of those rows of bobbles. This is done on much smaller needles with much finer wool. Something like this is a scarf, and this is made with homespun wool, and it is all just knit rows. So what the effect you get, this is on a medium sized needle, is you get a row of bobbles, a row of flat, a row of bobbles, a row of flat, a row of bobbles and a row of flat, and that's garter stitch. So stocking stitch, garter stitch. Garter stitch is only knit, knit, knit. Stocking stitch is knit a row, purl a row, knit a row, purl a row. If it's something you've always wanted to try, my advice would be to start on as big a needles as possible with a nice firm wool. And you can just practice away, practice, practice, practice. If you're like me, you want to be able to make something straight away. But I have learnt over the years that it is worth having a little practice first. There you go, and then the 2 rows of bobbles. Happy knitting.